Good morning, afternoon, evening, and night, my friends. My name is Lucky Basil, or Tyler, coach of the Looney Tunes Rainbow Road, and welcome to a little special video today. Got a little presentation. We got some awards for the Draft Bundesliga, or whatever it's called, Season 4 awards and stats. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a little review of everything that's happened in the season. A couple fun things here and there. I will first, before I start, I want to shout out to Adam for doing a lot of the stat work. Adam is the GOAT. Also shout out to Ethan and Jackson for helping out with a couple awards and stuff. I made this not too long ago, and it's gonna be quite fun. All right. First off, the stats. We have a lot to look at here. There's a lot of stats. Shout out to Adam once again for providing this. Oh boy, where to start? There's lots of greens and reds. You can kind of look all over the place. Some of the craziest stuff that I see right off the bat is Nate's turns and mine, because of one battle where 60 turns went into a single battle. So that was quite fun. Jasper is also surprisingly high as well with the amount of turns. The accuracy seems kind of funny. Ethan has 100% accuracy. Just didn't click like any moves that could miss. And if there were, he hit them. So I guess Ethan has been wearing his goggles this season. Cass's accuracy is like the lowest. But Noah hit the least amount of moves, which is kind of crazy to me. As you can see with the time, we have some clickers. Jackson has some pretty fast games. Keith and Noah and JC had like the quickest matches overall. Just no thoughts, empty head, move clickers, as we like to call it. Let's see, what else is kind of crazy here? Ethan likes to take his time, and Nate, like per turn. There's a lot of thinkers in the chat there. But yeah, you can pause the video here, and you can also check out all the stats. I'm not going to name every single one, but there's some fun stuff here. Like accuracy, paralysis, stuff like that. But we have more slides coming, so. The longest game, as I mentioned, was Tyler versus Nate, me versus Nate, week 4. It was a 31-minute, 21-second game, and it lasted 66 turns. And all because of this goddard Blissey. I had to do some heinous stuff to this guy. Alright? I was recovering, toxic stalling, there was aromatherapy, it was mean luck, it was a whole thing. And it's probably one of the greatest moments this league has ever seen. It was incredibly funny with a lot of commentary in the chat. It's super funny. Yeah, there's no surprise that this stall fest of these two Pokemon of Petra and Blissey managed to give the longest, so shout out to these two, I guess. Next was the shortest game. Jackson versus Keith was the shortest game by just under 3 minutes, which is absolutely insane. Jackson kind of just sent out his dark types, got to +2 with each of them, and just clicked buttons, I guess. Keith is known for clicking buttons quite fast, and Jackson just managed to set up really early and just kill things. But Noah versus Keith lasted 10 turns. It's incredibly funny. Just things were just getting one shot. Like, as you can see on the right side there, the Metagross was just like clicking moves. Noah's bonds were just died. Noah said, "Let me lock in." He did not lock in. Just as his mon was getting killed immediately after from 100% HP. Yeah, so that's a little funny stats there. The highest crit and the highest crit rate. Cass had the highest crit percentage, so I guess he was the one that had the highest chance to crit, I guess, in total. I guess that means like per turn, like how many turns he could crit. That's what he got, so shout out to Cass for that. But me and Liam actually got the most crits, funnily enough. Liam is just lucky, and, well, I'm lucky, but I'm also lucky, I guess. It's kind of in the name. I think me versus Nate kind of helped with that, because I think I got a couple crits in that long match. But Liam just kind of overall just, I guess, crit more, so yeah, we tied for 7 crits apiece. Next up, who got the most paralysis? Amin was 100%. He got paralyzed one time, and he got paralyzed that one time. So there's that. But Jackson is the hidden mention here, or honorable mention rather. 60% of the time, 3 out of 5 times. That is just the classic Jackson luck. We all know and love the Jackson luck when it comes to Pokemon, and honestly, not surprised. But Dimitri had 19 times turns to be paralyzed, and 9 of those turns he got paralyzed. So that's crazy to me. That's like almost like Noah and Keith's match worth of turns of just being paralyzed, which is kind of crazy. You can see the stats on the left there. Ethan, Keith, Noah, Austin, Jasper just never got paralyzed once. Nate got paralyzed quite a few times as well. So there's that. Yeah. I think that's quite crazy to me, and kind of funny as well. And next up, we got the move clicker and the most move miss. The most attacks Ethan used. This is crazy. 124 out of 126 damaging attacks, and probably 90% of those was like U-turn or Volt Switch or Flip Turn or something like that. Ethan had a rain team, so it just clicking moves one under the other. There's like very little setup, which is crazy to me. I might have messed that up, but yeah, Ethan's attacking. Ethan just clicked moves. That's all I can say. The most moves is Cass. Cass is the gambling man of this draft. He clicks moves. A lot of Focus Blast miss. I remember a couple of those. Yeah, trying to go for the crazy inaccurate moves that do funny stuff. Highly respectable stuff from Cass. Yeah, he missed the most, which is honestly not surprising. I'm not gonna lie, not surprising. And lest we forget, salutes in the chat for all of the Pokemon that never came to any games or came to games but didn't do anything. The little asterisk beside is, I think, when playoffs happened. So, like, they were played, like, once or twice in playoffs. So those, like, kind of don't count But Rotom Fan, Luxray, Hatchrim, Florigato, Alolan Golem, Whimsicott, Cryogonal, Dusclops, Clamperl, my Alcremie, and Beartick never came to any games. Throughout the 8 weeks that we had. Rotom Fan is kind of a crazy one. I feel like Rotom Fan could be quite good. I can see why things like Hatchrim, Florigato, Clamperl didn't really come. Just some like low tier unevolved mons that just I didn't think were gonna come all season, and they just didn't. Luxray is kind of just bad. Cryogonal did come to 2 games, but it never died and it never got any kills. Kind of just like tanked a hit, recovered, and switched out, as Nate does. Dusclops, Dusclops didn't come either, which is kind of crazy. I feel like Dusclops is pretty underrated. Yeah, once again, salutes in the chat. Let's forget the bench warmers. And for the most kills, my GOAT, the one and only Palmot, 19-4, plus 10 record, plus 15 record, and I brought it to 7 games. I didn't even bring the all 8 games. I didn't bring it to Liam's match, which I did lose. Probably because I didn't bring Palmot, but mostly because I just messed up. But that's another story. Yeah, looking at the stats on the side here, there's quite a few strong guys. When we get to the awards, we'll get more into those too. But some notable ones: Talonflame went kind of crazy. Seismitoad is LeBron, like always. Mega Manectric is always fun. Keith's Metagross and Hydreigon popped off. His Pseudos went crazy. Arctovish was pretty underrated and went crazy as well. Morgan Staraptor, great Terramon. Tom's Haunter, probably one of the most surprising Pokemon to pop off. And fuck you, Nick Splissy. Still is on the top 25 of the leaderboard here. Yeah, so you see all the stats there. Some crazy differentials. Some Pokemon only came to like 3 games, like Morgan Staraptor, Jackson's Lucario. They came in like 3 games, but they're still top 25. So shout out to those guys. But yes, Palmot, my absolute GOAT. I'm carried. That's all I'll say. And now for the awards. These are most of the categories were picked out by me, Adam, Jackson, and Ethan. We come up with a couple nominees, but they're mainly me. My opinion is definitely a part of this. There's no voting or anything. It's just kind of what we think was best. So the best nickname. Our nominees are Jackson's Lucario, which is Manectric Mega, the absolute, the origin of the funny meme. This is just the Mega version that you see on screen here. Nate's Manaphy, Mana Freak with the funky little letters. Honestly, amazing name. The funky letters just absolutely make it. Austin's Masculegion was pretty great as well. And then Tom's Skarmory says, "Fuck this Weavile." that's Skarmory's job. Just fuck this like single Pokemon in particular. It just says, "Hey, you're a physical attacker. You can't touch me." So that was really funny. I think Adam helped out with a bunch of nicknames as well. So those are our nominees, and the winner is Mana Freak. And this Manaphy was hilarious. All of the mods kind of unanimously decided that this one was the GOAT. This one is extremely funny. So shout out to Mana Freak. Next up is the best moment. We have the Jackson versus Noah Lucario 5-0 sweep week 1. This was like one of like the first games And Lucario like jumped to the top of the leaderboard like 5-0 like week 1. This was like the first or like the second or third game I think that happened like all season. So this one was pretty funny. This Lucario was LeBron very early on. Got a bunch of kills. Yeah, there's that. And then we have Ethan versus Amin. Ethan switched out 8 out of 10 turns since turn 1. This is absolutely hilarious to watch because Ethan spent like the longest time thinking about these moves, like doing his big brain, like analytical mind. It's like, what move I'm gonna press? And 8 out of 10 times he clicked a pivoting move. It was super funny. Amin was not having it. It was great. And then last we have me and Nate, the Petulant versus Blissey stall battle. This is just like one of the craziest things. It was so funny. I mean-looked at my Petulant, mean-looked at Blissey so it can move. I tried to Toxic stall it, had aromatherapy or whatever, and we just couldn't kill each other. It was stuck. I didn't want to switch out. I could have at any point, but it was just, I think it was just too funny to not switch out. So yeah, 40 turns. Turn 6 to turn 40 was just a stall fest with amazing commentary in the chat. Very, very memorable. And yeah, and the winner is obviously it's too much of a legendary moment. The strongest staller of all time, but this is the strongest staller of today. Ethan did, in fact, drive 30 cars into my house. That is a very real and true fact. Yeah, like it's just such a legendary moment. And it's the fact. I think it's the fact that I prepped 4 hours for this match just for this to happen is just it's crazy. It's so funny. Now for the Terra MVP. These are the nominees for the ones who could Terra. We have my Palmont, the GOAT. Yeah, it just kind of came in. I used almost a different Terra every single time. I used Electric, I used Dark, I used Steel, I used Fighting, I used Ice. There's a lot of variety that I used with Palmont, and it came out on top of the leaderboard in terms of kills. And yeah, that's my GOAT. Liam's Keldeo also went crazy. I know it Terra Electric a bunch of times. It was just overall really, really strong, and one of Liam's main way of actually getting his 8-0 win streak during the regular season, which is crazy. Then we have Keith's Talonflame, which was actually honestly really, really good. It's the Terra Flying Acrobatics tech was sick. It's so fast, and it hits surprisingly hard for only 86 attack or something like that. Yeah, and it was one of Keith's best Pokemon too. So, and then of course there was Nate's Ogerpon. Nate's team was very bulky and stally and doesn't do a lot of damage. But then the Ogerpon comes in, clicks Terra, gets a speed boost, and kills your entire team. So yeah, Nate's Ogerpon kind of rounded out his entire team. So that thing did very good. And then of course Ethan's LeBron James, Seismitoad. The season before, it got one of the highest kills differential in the season, and then he got it again with Terra, and it's just so good. I think he could Terra the previous season too, but yeah, Seismitoad just gets kills in rain. It just gets kills. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's just weirdly strong for being a little frog. Yeah, so then the MVP Terra is the Talonflame. Yeah, Keith's Talonflame was very surprising. I think that's why I made it the MVP here. It got like just a lot of like useful kills, even if it didn't get like 6-0 sweeps, which it did like pretty much a couple times. It got the picks it needed. And just getting a read, it has a Swords Dance boost. Yeah, the bird is huge. I don't know what to say. I think, yeah, this Talonflame just went absolutely crazy, and it deserves the MVP. Next is the non-Terra MVP. These are the Pokemon that could not Terra during the season, and here are the nominees. We got Tom's Mega Altaria. This Mega Altaria went stupid. It only died twice throughout the entire season, which is pretty schnasty. It just came in clutch a lot of times. There were a lot of times where Tom was kind of on the back end, and the Mega Altaria will just come in and then like click Dragon Dance once and then just kill things. I'm pretty sure it also like took more hits as well. It wasn't just like a super offensive MVP. It also like it can roost up on a bunch of stuff, and I think it did. So yeah. Then Liam's Hisuian Zoroark, which was quite good throughout the entire season. It wasn't even Terra, and this like caught a lot of people off guard. I don't know, it's just really strong. Liam just was really smart about playing Zoroark. And I know that's pretty difficult to do. But Liam is such big brain that he can just utilize a Hisuian Zoroark. So yeah. Then next was my Petulant. Petulant was very consistent throughout this season. I brought it to pretty much every game. It got a lot of important kills. It took a lot of important hits. It didn't do anything like super crazy. No like 6-0 sweeps or like tanking the most crazy stuff. But it was just like overall very consistent and very valuable to my team. Next was Jackson's Mega Manectric. Jackson's Mega Manectric was very, very consistent. He always kept that thing safe. Yeah, the Intimidate was just super useful, and just like picking off a lot of kills. I don't remember it one-shotting a whole bunch of stuff, but I remember it picking off like a bunch of weaker mons, and Jackson used it quite well. Next was Tom's Haunter, which I still find crazy that it is 6-2 in 3 games, and it's a Haunter, not even a fully evolved Pokemon. It caught everybody off guard. Yeah, Tom had some pretty good non-Terra Pokemon. But the winner is Mega Altaria. Yeah, it being 12-2 was really, really good. Tom kind of got carried by this thing. Mega Altaria, one of my personal favorites. My second favorite Pokemon, in fact. And Mega Altaria, is super deserved. Tom used a lot of different sets. Dragon Dance being the most prominent one. But yeah, Mega Altaria, super, super good. Next up, the next category is the low tier god. This was the low tier like league. Like a lot of the higher tier mons were banned. There wasn't a lot of paradox mons, like stuff like that. But even a low tier league, there's low tier Pokemon. These were the nominees. Tom's Haunter, which I realized now that I completely messed up on this page, which is down by Liam's Torpedo. But whatever, we're gonna roll with the punches here. Yeah, like I said, Tom's Haunter for tier 5, it went kind of crazy. Like an uninvolved Pokemon did this good for so little games. So yeah, shout out to that. Austin's Arctivish. Yeah, paired with that Alolan Ninetales, the Arctivish kind of went crazy. The Fishious Wrens did a lot more damage than a lot of teams can handle. And for a tier 4 pick, the Arctivish was pretty valuable, I will not lie. Next is Noah's Rotom Frost. This thing was also pretty damn good. It did die a lot, but it picked up a lot of kills that Noah's team needed. I don't remember anything like super notable about it, but it was just pretty consistent for the games that did come. So yeah, shout out to Noah's Rotom Frost. Liam's Sharpedo also did very well. I remember it came in clutch in kind of like the earlier, like the earlier weeks. The Sharpedo, sorry, like popped off. Later on, it didn't do as well. But early on, the Sharpedo came in clutch. It had Z moves, which was definitely very nice. And then, last but not least, was my Go-Goat. I'll definitely say it did not win this category. I will say this 100%. But it did its job. It came in. It did some consistent damage. It didn't really kill a lot of things, but when it did, it got like a kill a game, which is pretty nice. It only died once, but I only brought it to 3 games, so that kind of makes sense. But yeah, Go-Goat is the Go-Goat. But the winner is Haunter. Yeah, Tom's Haunter. Tom winning 2 categories in a row with his non-Terra guys. Tom is the carrier of these guys. He's not carried. He's the carrier. Yeah, this Haunter, just like, I can't stop gassing this thing of just how good it was for being an uninvolved Pokemon. Not a lot of people can pull that off, so once again, shout out to Tom. And then next up, the biggest carry / overall MVP. This is the LeBrons of each draft. First up was my Palmont. Again, I'll gas this thing up every single time. Especially in the last half of the season, when I got webs, Palmont were just killing things and just one-shotting things, doing so much damage. I just like picked the right Terra, and it just got kills. It got like 4 or 5 kills, like 3 or 4 kills like a week, for like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. It was kind of crazy. I love my little goober. But next up is Hisuian Gudra from Austin's team. Austin didn't have the greatest season, but the one thing kind of keeping him up there was the Hisuian Gudra. That thing just kind of did everything. It took hits, dealt damage. It was very, very, very good. It's not too much I can say about it, but it was pretty carried. Like, it carried most of Austin's team. So yeah, there's that. Next up is JC Salamence. JC Salamence, I believe it got a 6-0 sweep 1 week. I don't remember who, but it was like a really fast game. Just click a couple Dragon Dances, get a Moxie Boost, and voila, sometimes it's that simple. Yeah, JC also didn't have the greatest season, but the Salamence was like the one thing kind of keeping him like 9-6 is very, very respectable for how not great of a season JC had. So shout out to the Salamence. It did put in some work. Next up was Nate's Ogerpon. Nate had some Nate's team just couldn't function without this Ogerpon. The Terra came in clutch so many times, just bonking people on the head. Ogerpon is loved by many in this league, and Nate's definitely showed it off to its highest potential because, yeah, it just went absolutely crazy. It had one of the highest differentials. I think the highest differentials in this league was like my Palmot, Tom's Mega Altaria, Liam's Keldeo, and Nate's Ogerpon were like the top like 4 or 5 like highest differentials. So yeah, this Ogerpon did go crazy. As much as I hate Nate's team, it's annoying AF. The Ogerpon did put in some work, so I'll clap for that. And then last was Jackson's Mega Manectric. Mega Manectric was consistent throughout the entire season. Jackson made a lot of changes throughout the midpoint, but the one thing that was consistent throughout was Mega Manectric. Yeah, the speed tier was just absolutely fantastic for him, and it just picked off a lot of kills. Volt switching around, getting flamethrowers, thunderbolts. It did its job, and it was exactly what Jackson's team needed. Because I believe most of his team was quite physical, and Mega Manectric kind of felt that special role. So the overall carry and biggest MVP, I said that backwards, but whatever, is my Palmot. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, Palmot got as many kills as a Shen Pao in Season 1 of this league. So I don't know how that happened. Terra is absolutely broken. I am carried. Palmot is a tier 3. It's not like the best Pokemon in the world. But it has a 125 attack and 105 speed with Terra, and it did its job. It has a lot of coverage. Palmot was just so good. I just came in, set up webs, and then clicked CC like 80,000 times in a row and got kills. I cannot be more thankful for my little goober, Palmot, who is the absolute GOAT, the LeBron James of Season 4 of this draft league. So that has been the stats and awards. It was kind of all over the place, but I had a fantastic time reminiscing over the memories that we had, that I had in Season 4 of this league. That'll be all for me. And I will see you all for next season, Season 5, which happens very, very soon. But don't forget, stay lucky out there. Bye-bye.